Okay. Well, welcome everyone to the June Yolo County Fire Safe Council meeting. I'm Tanya Meyer. I'm Program Manager at the Resource Conservation District, and I'm really happy to welcome everyone here and then turn over the running of this meeting to our wonderful interim chair, Chief Rebecca Ramirez from the Yochadihi Fire Department. So I will be taking minutes, recording, typing this meeting. So I will turn it over to Chief Ramirez. Thank you.
And I'm not sure if I'm able to do that. Thank you all for having me here. I'm not sure if I'm able to look in this view at these attendees to be able to do a roll call.
You should be able to go down to participants and just click on that.
I can also stop sharing for a minute and do a stew so we can really see each other. How about that?
Becky, you're on mute.
That's perfect. Thank you very much. Helps us put that name to a face, so that's great. Thank you all for coming, and thanks for allowing me to be your interim chair, the Yolo County Fire Safe Council. We'll go ahead and start off with introductions. So I'll go ahead and call your name, and if you could let us know who you are and where you're from or what you maybe represent, what entity maybe you represent. I'll start off with myself. My name is Rebecca Ramirez, and I'm the Fire Chief of Yochadihi Winton Nation. And then we'll go to Heather Nichols.
Heather Nichols, the Executive Director for Yolo County Resource Conservation District.
Thank you, Heather. Tanya?
Tanya Meyer, I'm the Program Manager at the Yolo County Resource Conservation District.
Okay, thanks, Tanya. Jonathan Hammond, please.
Yes, I'm the, my business is Indigo Hammond and Plale Architects. We're architects and we're doing a lot of fire-related reconstruction, shall we say. And I have property right on Puda Creek on the Solano County side, just neighboring what is now the Solano Water District property, formerly the Four Winds Nursery. So I've been involved in some fire situations myself.
Thanks for joining us, Jonathan. We appreciate it. And Bill Weisgerber, my friend Bill, retired fire chief.
Hey,
Hello.
Chief. Bill Weisgerber, representing East Davis County Fire Protection District.
Thanks, Bill, for joining us. Really appreciate your expertise and you being here with us. Wade Cowan.
Yes, Wade Cowan. I'm the mayor for the city of Winters.
Thanks, Wade. We appreciate that. Thanks, man. Christopher Rose.
No, I'm the Executive Director for the Solano Resource Conservation District.
Thank you, Christopher. Anna Vasquez.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, I was on mute. Anna Vasquez at the Vacaville office representing Senator Bill Dodd.
Thanks, Anna. We appreciate your being here with us today. Elaine Roberts, please.
Yes, Elaine Roberts-Musser, Vice Chair of the Yolo County Commission on Aging and Adult Services and Chair of the Emergency Preparedness Subcommittee.
Thank you so much for being here with us. Jim Stelly.
Jim Stelly, Property Manager, Winters Senior Apartments.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate that. Mike Wilson.
Hey, good afternoon. Mike Wilson, Northern California Regional Coordinator, California Fire Safe Council.
Wonderful. Thanks. Phil Hogan, please.
I'm Phil Hogan. I'm the District Conservationist for the USDA Natural Resources Conservation Service serving Yolo County.
Awesome. Great to have you here. Anna Brait. I hope I pronounced your name right.
Hi. Hello. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Anna. And where are you from, Anna, if you could share that with us?
Oh, I'm from Gwenda.
Okay, great. Are you a community member?
Yes.
Well, thanks so much for taking time out of your day to be here. Appreciate it. Brad Hansen, please.
Hi, I'm Brad Hansen. I'm a resident in the northern Solano area, just south of Puda Creek.
Hey, thanks, Brad. Brenda Graywell.
Hi, I'm Brenda Gruel. I'm a local property owner and experienced seasoned wildfire evacuee who lives on Positas Road, west of Winters. I'm also a plant ecologist, restoration ecologist by profession.
I'm sorry you've had to evacuate. Our efforts is to hope that you won't have to evacuate as much in the future.
Yeah, we hope so too. We seem to be a hot spot though.
For sure, for sure. Crystal Apalato.
Hi, I'm Crystal Apalato. I'm the editor-in-chief at the Winters Express.
Thanks, Crystal. Dana Carey from Yolo OES, please.
Yeah, Dana Carey, Emergency Manager for Yolo County.
Thank you, Dana, for taking time out of your busy day. Daniel Schwartz.
Hi, Dan Schwartz. I'm a member of the Pleasance Valley Agricultural Association and helping start the Pleasance Valley Fire Safe Council in Solano County.
Great, thank you so much. James Barrett.
Hi, I own property on the north side of Cache Creek between Woodland and Esparto. I'm the chairman of the board for the Cache Creek Conservancy, and I'm a fire commissioner for the Madison Volunteer Fire Department.
Well, we really appreciate the efforts of your volunteer and working with your fire chief, Paul there. He's great. James Gunterman, please.
Hi, I'm a resident of Winters and I guess located just off of Lake Solano on the Solano County side.
Thank you. Thanks for being with us. Jesse Capitano.
Hi, I'm a captain with Cape Valley Fire, and I'm working with Sivera to try and form a Cape Valley Fire Safe Council.
Cool. Thanks. John Hulsman.
Yeah, I live south of County Road 23, south of Esparto. An old retired guy. I don't really represent any organization, although I do chair the General Plan Citizens Advisory Committee, and I am a commissioner of the Esparto Fire Protection District.
Thank you. Well, we love working with Chief Lawrence. Great pick on that. Jordan Silva, please.
Hi, my name is Jordan. I'm with the Daily Democrat in Woodland.
Thanks, Jordan, for joining us. We appreciate it. Kate Laddish.
I'm Kate Laddish. I'm a resident of Winters, and my affiliations include being chair of the Yolo County In-Home Supportive Services Advisory Committee and a member of the Yolo County Commission on Aging and Adult Services Emergency Preparedness and Evacuation Subcommittee with Elaine Roberts-Musser. Thank you.
I think you got some skill we're going to use at some point, I'm sure. Kathleen Treppa.
Yes, hi, thank you. I'm Kathleen Trepp. I'm the city manager for the city of Winters.
Thank you very much for taking your time to be with you, both you and the mayor. Appreciate it. And welcome.
Thank you.
To Yolo County. Ken Britton.
Yeah, hi, I'm a property owner on Positas Road, neighbor of Brenda's, and talking with Neil Van Alphen up in Golden Bear about possibly forming a joint fire safe council.
Thank you so much. Kenny Doss.
Good afternoon. My name is Kenny Doss. I'm with the Yolo Solano Air Quality Management District.
There's a picture of her.
I'm a senior air quality specialist.
Thanks so much. Kyle Noter.
Good afternoon. Kyle Noter with California Office of Services.
Kyle, you're kind of tough to hear, so I'm not sure if your volumes or mics just a little bit off.
Kyle's from Cal OES. He's our regional coordinator.
Thank you, Kurt. Micah Bennett.
Hi, I'm from Rumsey and I'm part of the Cape Valley Regeneration Project and also with Cache Creek Conservancy Board, and happy to be here.
Marianne Estes.
Hi, I'm Marianne Estes. I'm from, I work for Supervisor Oscar Villegas, and I'm attending this meeting on his behalf.
Thank you. Maura Fitzgerald, please.
Hi, I'm a resident of the Cape Valley and
working with Jesse and a few other people on the Cape Valley Emergency Response Auxiliary and establishing the Cape Valley Fire District Fire Safe Council.
Thank you. Patty Jamie from Red Cross.
Hi, Patty Jaime. I am the Red Cross Safety Liaison and the Mental Health Director for RISE.
Thank you very much for joining us today. Randy Thompson.
Hi, I'm a resident of the Olive School area, and I'm also on the Solano Resource Conservation District Board.
Very good. Thank you. Richard Reed, please.
Deputy Supervisor Provenza.
Thank you very much, Richard. Robert Stewart. Robert, if you're trying to talk, you're muted.
Right there.
There you
Sorry
go.
about that.
That's right.
I'm just a resident of Winters, approximately 2 miles west of town. So I'm a recipient of some of the last 2 fires.
Thank you so much for being here. Rose Lavelle.
Hi, my name is Rose Laval. I'm one of the core members of the Pleasance Valley Fire Safe Council and also one of the core members of Pleasance Valley Ag Association.
Thank you, Rose. Ryan Chalk. Ryan, if you could try and unmute yourself, that'd be great. If you want to introduce yourself. If not, we'll move on.
Moving on.
Hey, Sahi Haher.
Hi everyone, my name is Sahil Hare. I'm an APAPA intern for Solano County, and I'm also interning for Senator Bill Dodd.
Thank you very much. Sayer Delgado.
Hi, everyone. Syra Delgado with the Office of Assembly Member Cecilia Aguiar Curry.
Thank you so much for being here. Scott Doolittle, please.
I'm the interim building official for Yolo County.
Welcome to Yolo County, Scott. Appreciate it. Tara Thronson.
Hi, Tara Thronson with the Office of Yolo County Supervisor Don Saylor.
Thank you. Zachary Emerson.
Hi, Chief Ramirez. Good to see you. I'm Zach Emerson. I'm the Habitat Restoration Program Manager for the Cache Creek and Nature Preserve. I'm a restoration ecologist, prescribed fire practitioner, and supporter of cultural burns.
Oh, excellent. We got to get you hooked up with our cultural department as well then. Very good. Hey, I'm sure that there's a few of you that popped on and jumped in. If anybody was not mentioned, please let us know who you are.
Chief Ramirez, Patrick Ellis, PG&E Public Safety Specialist.
Hey, thanks, Pat, for jumping on. Appreciate it.
Hi, I'm Tracy Cattleman. I'm Forever Green Forestry Consulting Forester and Woodland.
Thanks, Tracy. Anybody else that we didn't get a chance to introduce?
Jonathan Flora. I've been the member of Severa, the Cape Valley. We're getting the Cape Valley version of the Fire Safe going.
Excellent. Well, thanks everybody. Unless is there anybody else? Last stop. Well, thanks all for jumping in here. This is one of our first meetings. We've had a couple so far, but this is kind of one of the first ones that'll be a little bit more formalized. Very graciously, I was nominated and accepted the interim chair position. And Brad Lopez, who is the chief of Winters, accepted the vice chair position. But those will need to be voted on, I understand, during probably this meeting. And I'm going to go ahead and put it over right away to Heather and Tanya, who are the focus of this and really the brainchild of this. And then we'll move on from there.
All right, everybody. So we are kind of developing this as we are going along. And I just want to say, it's our job to spend time putting this together, but it's also an iterative process and inclusive and collaborative effort. So, we're trying to build this structure in the most, in a way that involves everyone, that has enough structure in order to get things done, but isn't overly cumbersome. So will be some things to talk about tonight. This is one idea is to, as the RCD being the coordinator for the Yolo County Fire Safe Council, to provide a coordinator report. And we'll show you what that might look like in a bit. And track our activities, track our actions. I'll show you that in a minute. We'll also talk, we need to get in depth on some draft bylaws for the Yolo County Fire Safe Council, discuss them, review them, talk about things like mission statements and voting and how that works and how we think it could work well, and then talk about how, is this a good time to meet and so on. So there's a lot to talk about in a short amount of time. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Tanya. To one of the things that we'll be doing in a coordinator report is updating you on what's coming up, what's happening. Tanya, do you want to talk about this event that's happening next week?
Just for a second. So this is next Monday. We have a wonderful speaker from Cooperative Extension, and we'll be talking about home hardening techniques and then some question and answer afterwards. So this will be a webinar, so anyone can attend. I believe I sent the link out to folks, but I will put it in the chat if you don't have it. And I'm madly taking minutes, so when you see me pounding away, that's what I'm doing.
Okay, thanks, Tanya.
Thanks, Tanya. Thanks, Heather. Is there anything that else that you have to report?
Yep, we're going to go just to show you one of the thoughts that we have is so Tanya doesn't have to madly write down everything we're all talking about here. Is to put together a coordinator report. This is the first draft. It's kind of hot off the press, but events and meetings coming up, and whether this should be a Google Doc that the local fire safe councils can put their meeting dates in, and we can host it on. We're actually in the process of developing a Yolo County Fire Safe Council website specific for this, so we could post something like this for everyone to see, and all the members to contribute to. So events and meetings. We have another section right now. It's called Project Funding Tracker. We put in, grants that we've gone for already, what those look like. Won't go into detail or anything, but that will be kind of an ongoing list. We're waiting for awards. This is waiting for contracting. This is about the timeline and so on. So you can see, this is really about actions that come out of this meeting. So we want to start putting those together.
Heather, do you mind possibly making it just a little bigger for those of us that have old eyes?
Yes, I have old eyes too. I'm getting old eyes. All right, hang on. How do I make it? I should know by now. How to make it.
In the event that somebody wants to do it themselves, if they go up to their bar, there's a view options under Zoom ratio. You can increase it a little bit bigger as well.
Oh. Does that help? Whatever you're doing on your end? I'm like not
it
seeing.
Does, but then it goes, it's clearly it's a user operator error on my part. So
well, maybe. And also I got it on the slideshow presentation, which seems to take off a Zoom option. Okay, well.
You're doing great.
Sorry about that. We're going to go ahead and Tanya's going to email this report. Whoa, I just wrote on that. I don't know how I did it. I'm just here to entertain you, but okay, so just focusing on the content here, meetings, events, project funding tracker, what the status is of the community wildfire protection plan. So there's a steering committee going on right now. The community wildfire plan is going to be like a strategic plan for this group. So it's important to know how that's coming along. We're planning and trying to do a lot of work all at once because of the situation we're in wildfire wise. The planning process does have a timeline. It's going to take a little longer, But meanwhile, we're also drafting project lists, and that's something that we'll talk about in future meetings. So we put down some things, the Office of Emergency Services, just to show you where we're going with this, and whether it needs to be, you know, something in an email document that gets updated, gets on our website, becomes a Google Doc. We'll have to figure out those details and what works best for everybody here. That's just a little taste of what we're going for. And then what we're going to be talking about in the new business part of the agenda is the structure, you know, discussing the structure of the Fire Safe Council. And as kind of a background and context, and we talked about it for the last 2 meetings, the key roles are the sponsor of the Yolo County Fire Safe Council is the County of Yolo. At their June 8th board meeting, they designated the Yolo County Resource Conservation District as the coordinator of the Yolo County Fire Safe Council. Our job would be to coordinate meetings, develop agendas like we're doing now, host the website, and kind of keep the work of the Fire Safe Council active. We are doing that through a grant from CAL FIRE, by the way. So that's part of how we're doing that here. It needs to be a chair and a vice chair. Right now, the interim chair and vice chair is Chief Ramirez and also Chief Brad Lopez, who just left on an incident. For those of you who weren't here early on in the meeting, he was here earlier. So that is to, you know, their job is to convene these meetings. And then if there are project proposals that we're supporting as a Fire Safe Council or sponsoring an event or so on, they're the representatives, they sign support letters and so on, whether that's a rotating chairship or, you know, that's all to be discussed in this group setting, and how long folks serve on chairs, that kind of thing, all for discussion. And then just to answer some questions that have come up in the last month, are there going to be officers and treasurers? To be sure the way that we've been working on this group and this council is this council would not be handling funds. There are several stakeholders, including the RCD, us, the County of Yolo. There may be other entities that are members of this group who would be fiscal sponsors for various projects and programs, all to be discussed. So the council itself will not be a nonprofit organization that holds funds or you know, a government entity that holds funds. It's a group of stakeholders to solve problems and collaborate. However, there's various fiscal sponsors that can serve that role. And the idea is to not create additional bureaucracy essentially, but to still be a collaborative and inclusive. Interested members of the public, we want to make sure, so this is getting into voting a little bit. Voting is recommended that it by a county council that this is their stakeholder representatives versus individuals. Individuals, however, are very much welcome to attend any and all countywide fire safe councils and participate in the discussion. So the voting is really around, okay, what projects right now do we need to prioritize out of the Community Wildfire Protection Plan, which is will be completed next year, and other actions. So they're just a decision-making body, but there is the members of public are also invited to participate in all of those discussions. And then what we're going to look at in the summary of draft bylaws, there's no way around it. We need to go through the draft bylaws, what the name of it is, what the purpose of it is, what the mission, and what are those membership definitions and voting rights. So we've talked with a lot of different fire safe councils and groups that are doing this throughout the state, and came up with suggestions so that we could get started and have productive discussion about what we want for Yolo County. Right now, the voting membership, examples of voting membership are the counties, cities, and UC Davis, for example, the local fire protection districts, local community-based fire safe councils, the tribe, Yochadihi Winton Nation, community service districts, citizen and advisory boards. We don't have a prescribed burn association yet. That's something we're working on. They can also be members, Firewise communities, local service districts, homeowner associations, local nonprofit organizations. Agencies that own land or manage public facilities in the county are all examples of voting memberships. And then we went ahead and, we're ready to get going here, right? Everyone is. We're past it. And so we've got a membership application that you've seen. And if you haven't, we can give you a copy of that. This has only been in the last couple of weeks, so voting members who've applied to date, and I tried to color code them to what kind of agencies they were. Cache Creek Conservancy is an orange local nonprofit organization, for example. That was Zach Emerson, who's already doing some fuels reduction work and cultural burning. And then we have forming local community-based fire safe councils in green. We've got Cape Valley Fire District Fire Safe Council, the East Davis County Fire Protection District, and Golden Bear Fire Safe Council. And Winters Senior Apartments, if I have that wrong, if it's not a homeowners association, we can correct that. It doesn't really matter. I'm just trying to communicate. I mean, it doesn't, we're not going to have a designation way that we talk about our voting membership, just trying to bring everybody onto the same page in communicating, voting membership. So this is one way, just showing you examples of what we've got going on so far. Local fire protection districts, Yolo, Yochadihi Fire Department. There are representatives, elected representatives from the counties and also the region. I didn't realize, but they can also participate in these discussions. We're not subject to Brown Act. We've been working with the county administrator's office and also the county council. So we do not have to act as a Brown Act body, as we don't handle funds. And there are other reasons there. So Yolo County Housing Authority is also, I wasn't sure if it was a local nonprofit, but just to show examples there. And then you can also, if you want to sign up as a non-voting member and you're an individual and you want to, be on the roster, that's great. Membership applications, there's no deadline, it's ongoing. One of the things that we will be doing as Fire Safe Council is discussing membership, discussing the bylaws. So we're just trying to find a way to get started and get working on this. So the next thing, does anybody have any major questions? Because the next thing we're going to do is dig right in to the draft bylaws, which hopefully everyone has gotten a copy of.
Heather, I have a quick question. This is Kate Laddish from Winters. That on the state level, there's actually a law to make sure that people with access and functional needs are included in emergency planning. And I know that, a fire safe council, it's a slightly different animal, but I just want to make sure that that those voices are included.
Okay, we are going to take that note. We have not lifted our level up to that point yet. We can do that. I think that's something we're going to have to work on and bring into these meetings. We have seen a fully accessible Fire Safe Council meeting run in Sonoma and saw how they did that. And now, we need to figure out how we can do that.
Great. Terrific.
Thank you. That's really important. So important.
And Kate, appreciate your expertise on that. So maybe after this meeting, if you wouldn't mind staying on for just a few minutes, we could brainstorm that a little with you if you'd be willing.
I'd be happy to. I should have kept my mouth shut, huh? Right.
Be careful. Raise your hand.
That's right. Thank you for the opportunity. Yeah, let's talk.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. Oh shoot. Here we go. I'm getting, if you have a copy of it in front of you, then you could pull that up. But we're going to all look at, I'm going to screen share again, and we can all look at these things together. And I don't know how to make this fun. This is kind of like, we got to go through the dry bylaws, but it's very important. So I don't think there's any other way around it except through. So please, you can take your You know, mic's off mute. Well, there's 50 people here, so maybe that's the wrong idea, Heather, but we'll work on trying to get input as we move along. And so I'll just go through each piece of the bylaws, and then we'll go through one piece and then have a discussion, go through another piece, have a discussion. And I can write in here in what's called tracked changes, and make live changes here. We may not get through all of this. I don't know. We're gonna get started anyhow. That's the motto these days. So can everyone see the draft bylaws on on the screen? All right. Oops. I have to take that call later. So the name, Article 1 is the name. And you know, as I'm doing this, I'm questioning like whether, and this is maybe Chief Ramirez and can weigh in on this too, is are we going to try to vote on anything today, or should this just be discussion article by article?
And I think that there probably could be a combination approach here. Some of these things will be pretty simple, and others may require a little bit more thought. This first one seems like it's a pretty simple thing, but let's see what the discussion leads to.
Okay, so we do have a handful, you know, we have maybe 10 or so, 10 or 12 members. And sorry, my phone's ringing. And so Article 1 is the name. So this is in the bylaws. The name of the organization shall be the Yolo County Fire Safe Council. Is there any discussion around that article?
This is Jonathan Hammond. I have a question. Is the jurisdiction or the area covered by the Yolo County Fire Safe Council, is that Yolo County only, or are we including Solano County?
Well, I can answer that question, and other folks can chime in. In terms of project work or the scope of like the Community Wildfire Protection Plan and the risk assessment that the steering committee is doing, that's Yolo County only. But I can tell you that somebody really wants to get a hold of me. I'm sorry. We often partner with our neighbor counties. So, you know, there could certainly be partnership projects, and there can certainly be input from our fire neighbors. That's what makes sense to me as somebody who works in resource conservation, where watersheds don't really know county boundaries. But I would be interested to hear, you know, what others think. And jurisdictionally, we decided to keep it to the county, but the way that it will be implemented, you know, I could see it being involving multiple counties. I'm just going to take this call and let others discuss.
I'd like to make a comment.
Yeah, please, Matt.
Wade Cowan, Mayor. In some of the previous meetings and discussions on this, we had been including all along what we call winters proper, which is anybody that has a winters zip code, which does encroach into Solano County along the creek and Pewter Creek Road. And it includes Quail Canyon and down Pleasance Valley Road, I believe, to Shale Peak Road. And Chief Lopez can probably chime in on exactly those boundaries, but I believe everything within that zip code is also in our fire district, I believe. And again, maybe the chief can chime in on that. So I kind of felt like with everything we've been doing, we were trying to be inclusive of those that are within what we call winters proper.
Yeah, we definitely are not excluding people on county lines. It's just the funding that we get for our county will go to our county projects, but there's the Greater Winters Fire Safe Council, which is it's still, I think Chief Lopez is going to be helping decide where and what everybody, you know, what everyone's boundaries are. But we definitely want you guys to participate over on the other side of the creek. because we all burn together.
And if I may, Tanya, Chris from Solano RCD had been a part of this process from the beginning as well. And we had this discussion with Solano participants from the very beginning, having discussion about whether we were going to call it Yolo Solano Fire Safe Council. And at the time, and Chris, you can correct me if I'm incorrect here, we came to a conclusion that because Chris was going to be starting one working with folks in Solano County to start a regional fire safe council, that we figured it would be appropriate to call ours a Yolo County, and there'd be a Solano version, which doesn't, as Tanya mentioned, as Heather mentioned, would not preclude us from using some of the funds for projects that do cross the border, especially into the, as you said, Mayor Cowan, cross the, the creek into the Pleasance Valley. As a matter of fact, one of the projects that Yolo OES is working on is trying to do a siren/notification system for the entire Pleasance Valley down into Yolo or into Solano County, where probably 2/3 of it would be in their county, but we're working on it coordinatedly with their county OES as well. Chris, did you have anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, just that to echo what you said, essentially the Solano RCD is working with the county and partners and Yolo County to essentially do this similar process. We're just a year behind. We applied for funding a year after Yolo did, so we are hopefully going to be starting this process, very similar process here in 2 or 3 months. But in the meantime, like I said, we have fire safe councils that are forming, and we are chomping at the bit to get the countywide, Solano countywide fire safe council started. So it's coming. And we have a great template and partner in Yolo County to work with and to partner with.
And John, to kind of echo another item that came up in previous meetings, there's obviously a lot of discussion about fires along the western border and the southwestern corner of Yolo County, obviously, because that's where the historical fires have occurred. But we didn't, from the Yolo County's CAO's from the county administrator's office, we didn't want to preclude from including projects throughout Yolo County. So that was one of the reasons why we were looking at from Yolo County as a total. As a matter of fact, we had that 1,500 acre fire up in the bypass back in May. So that was one of the reasons we wanted to make sure we're including everything, because it's not just about, one particular area, but the entire county. So that was our view on it.
Well, that gave me a chance to take a phone call and also review how to vote for something in the draft bylaws. So it's 2/3 supermajority, and there are 9 registered members, voting members. So I think that means 6 need to vote if we are to keep this name, Yolo County Fire Safe Council. I'll leave it to Chief Ramirez to decide whether this should be a voting item.
Well, actually, what I kind of wanted to hear from the group a little bit on is, I know that not everybody has probably gotten a chance to apply. We did talk about it last month, and it was sent out last month. But this could be just a time where we really focus and look at everything that's here, and then be able to get directly to the voting next time if the group feels strongly about making sure that their voice is heard in a voting capacity should they choose to do so. So is there anybody out there that would like to be able to vote for this, but has not gotten a chance yet to register? If there is, if you wouldn't mind speaking up just a little bit, we could get a flavor of how that feels for you all.
Wade Cowan, Mayor.
Hey, thanks, Mayor. Appreciate it. Anybody else that hasn't gotten a chance to register that would like to vote on this? On this and other items?
Cape Valley Fire hasn't had an opportunity to register, but we intend to become a voting member.
Yeah, so even if there's just a couple of you, let's go ahead and give you a chance to register, and let's just go through a discussion here today and have more of a robust discussion. And then that way, if there's any input that you all would want to email based upon these discussions, and we can consider that and change things a little bit, and then we'll just go straight to voting the next time that we meet.
Great, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna can you still see my screen?
Yes, we
Okay.
can.
So we talked about the name. Is there anything else that needs to be said about that? We can move on to Article 2, which has been.
If I could just invite for anybody who would like to see a different name than what we're seeing here for consideration, if you could please send that in to Heather and Tanya, that'd be great.
That's great. Yeah, we want to get off on the right foot here. So I'm going to move on to Article 2 for now. That's changed from the draft that we originally sent out because we had some discussion before this meeting about needing a mission statement, and really the bulleted list is more of a purpose. So Article 2 is now called purpose. So the purpose of the Yolo County Fire Safe Council, and what is written here, is to serve as a forum for the implementation of the Community Wildfire Protection Plan, share fire safety information, assess fire risk, promote community fire safe planning and coordination, and support the fire service and local fire safe councils. This is a draft for discussion.
If you'd like to see anything else that has not presently been pushed into the purpose statement, just go ahead and once again email those suggestions in, or if you'd like to change some of what you do see here.
Okay, so hearing nothing, I don't see anything in the chat. Should I move to?
Now let's go ahead and move on to the mission statement, please.
Okay, Article 3 has become the mission, and we have several options that you haven't seen yet. I want it to get on one screen. Not ideal, but there it is. So we have a couple of different options. I'll give you a minute to review if everyone can see this. I can read them. I will also read them off. Okay, so option 1, the mission of the Yolo County Fire Safe Council is to protect the people of Yolo County and their property from the effects of catastrophic wildfire through education, cooperation, innovation, and action. These were taken from various fire safe councils and then tweaked a little bit. So that's if you're wondering where these come from. Okay, option 2, the mission of the Yolo County Fire Safe Council is to protect built and natural resources from threat of wildfire. Through education and coordination, we support local fire safe councils and local communities throughout Yolo County. Option 3, the mission of the Yolo County Fire Safe Council is to reduce the threat of wildfire to farms, ranches, communities, and infrastructure through action, education, and collaboration. And then option 4, the mission of the Yolo County Fire Safe Council is to protect the people, property, and natural and cultural resources in both urban and rural farming communities throughout Yolo County from the effects of catastrophic wildfire through education, cooperation, innovation, and action. I am not sure how to discuss all these 4 options. We could give you this month to think about them and ask for edits and then do a poll. We could do a live poll at the next meeting is one way to do it. But
you know, I have to say I do like either option 1 or option 4. I love that they put the people right up front. I think that's a really important piece. And then I'm also pretty fond of how they discussed the education, cooperation, and innovation and action, because the action piece is really important, but the education is kind of at the forefront as well.
I would have to echo that, Chief Ramirez. My gut, option 1 and 4, and I'm actually leaning a little bit more towards option 4 because it also touches on the natural and cultural resources, which aren't mentioned in option 1. Just seems a little bit more comprehensive to me. And I also like that option 4 mentions the urban areas because obviously wildfire still impacts urban areas either directly or indirectly through smoke impacts. And just we want to be as inclusive as possible here.
Thanks, Zach, for your input.
I
don't-
agree.
I'm not a voting member. Can I make a comment?
For sure, Micah, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I like all the things you said about the options, but the one thing about option 3 is that it's to reduce the threat of wildfire. And I like the idea that it's not just to protect from wildfires that happen, but there's an effort to reduce the threat. And so maybe that could be worked into some of the others.
Great observation. Thank you, Micah. Mary, did you have a comment?
Wade does. I agree with most of the others about option 1 or option 4. And I also agree with the last speaker about maybe reduce and protect. Get reduce in there somehow. But I agree with either one of those options.
Thank you, Mayor, for your input.
Could I make
Chief
a,
Ramirez?
this is Bob Stewart. Can I make a comment? The rural farming communities, a lot of the rural areas are not farming. They're homeowners with small acreages and things like that. So just the word farming maybe could be left out.
Got it. Thank you. Thanks, Bob. How about you, Bill?
I was just going to say that I thought that option 4 was the most comprehensive, and you just put the threat reduction statement, just weave that in there, and I think you've got it.
Call from Armstrong, Insurance.
This is Tracy. I wanted to echo that. I think option 4, if we add that part of reduce the threat and protect to number 4, and then I would say both urban and rural communities. So we don't need urban, we can take out areas and farming, all those words. And that would help.
Great suggestion. Thank you, Tracy. Anybody else? Okay, so we'll tinker with that and we'll bring it back also for a final voting for next time out. If we could move on, please, Tanya.
Right. Thanks, everybody. Article 4 is the members and voting rights section. So this is taken from a watershed group in Trinity County, where the Trinity RCD coordinates a similar fire safe council. So some of these things were tweaked, some of them were not. It's something to think about as a way to be able to have a voting membership for decision making. So here we go. We'll just go through these and then we can discuss. I'm going to read it in case there's anyone who can't see the screen. Members of the Yolo County Fire Safe Council are representatives of organizations, entities, or groups. The acronym may be OEG for organizations, entities, or groups, not individuals, with at least 10 members, or if smaller, have been in existence and active for at least 1 year. Although I think that needs to be waived right now because there's so many brand new groups forming. But also be supportive of the purpose and mission of the state that are stated in the bylaws. In order to vote, an organization, entity, or group must have had a representative attend 3 consecutive meetings of the council. Recognizing that scheduling is difficult, this representative does not have to be the same person at each of the 3 consecutive meetings. Also has to be active in Yolo County, have been active in Yolo County for at least 1 year. Also, this is since the first year. I think we need to discuss that. But thinking about the big picture, I left them in. That's why I left those in. 3, have a mailing address or own or manage property in Yolo County. And 4, receive only 1 vote per item, despite the number of representatives in attendance. So if there are 3 people from the RCD and we were a voting member, but we'd only get one vote. Do you want me to keep going or, okay. A voting member will lose voting rights by not having a representative in attendance at 3 consecutive meetings. Voting rights can be reestablished by attending 2 consecutive meetings. Phone or virtual attendance is acceptable and votes may be counted. Areas where the council may vote include but are not limited to supportive projects and proposals, change of bylaws, approval of new voting members, sponsoring events. Items for voting considerations will be emailed to council members 1 week prior to a scheduled meeting. Action on an item will require a favorable vote by a supermajority, 2/3 of voting members present, including any abstentions or recusals. Quorums will not be required. Members of the public who hold a stake in fire and fire management of the county but do not satisfy voting member requirements are welcome to attend meetings and are encouraged to participate in discussions. So just so you know, also, this has been through the Yolo County Council and gotten their advisement and revisions.
Any discussion or input on what you see here? And of course, this is not just your only last chance. You can certainly take your time to review it and email any suggestions that you might have or any modifications that you might see.
I have a question. I'm Marianne Estes, representing Supervisor Villegas. I know that some of the feedback that you've or these documents are based on other areas that have similar councils. Did the membership on those other areas include a board of supervisor representation? I'm just curious about that.
They have. For the one, you know, the one example that I talked with, and also several other fire safe councils, board of supervisors, county board supervisors can be their representative, of their constituents. And my understanding from talking with county council is they can be voting members.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments on this area before we move on?
This is Elaine Roberts-Musser. I'm curious why the have a mailing address and or own or manage property in Yolo County. What's the purpose of that? As long as you can reach the person, the representative by email or telephone, I don't see that. I just don't understand that. I don't know what the.
That's for the, I will try to explain why I think that is in, the document we're using, because we're talking about the organization, entity, or group. And that organization, entity, or group has a mailing address or owns or manages property, but the representative for that group does not necessarily have to have a Yolo County address. So if you're working for Yolo County Housing Authority, but you live in Sacramento, that's okay. That's an example of that. But that is my thought process around that portion. So we wouldn't have a organization, entity, or group like that was based out of Sacramento, voting on a Yolo County Fire Safe Council item.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Does that answer your full question? Does that fully answer your question?
Yeah, I think it answers it. I'm just not sure how important that is. As long as the organization is within the county, I don't think it makes much difference as far as what the mailing address is.
Yeah. And that's,
well, I guess the question is it going to be run by people outside the county or people in the county?
I think that organization, entity, or group is a Yolo County organization, entity, or group. but then whoever is working for them doesn't have to live in Yolo County.
Yeah, it might be worth specifying that specifically, because that makes more sense, I think.
Okay, thanks, Elaine.
Also, another question I have, why are quorums not required?
This is just having run a, you know, the RCD is a Brown Act body of 5 members and the quorum is defined as 3. I think it's because we're going to have various numbers of members attending meetings. It won't be consistent. And so it's built in to be flexible to the number of voting members who attend.
And if anybody that's on this call has a different suggestion for that, and you'd like to either discuss it now or email your suggestions, we can certainly look into all the different options that might exist, whether it's having a quorum, not having a quorum, having a minimum number of voting members in attendance or something like that, that maybe doesn't quite meet quorum status, but could also be a quorum when at any time we vote for expenditures or something. You know, there's probably a lot of different blends here we could do. So please feel free to send those in or discuss them now.
Yes.
I'd like to ask a question if I could. This is Jesse Capitano with Cape Valley Fire. I'm not super familiar with the Winters area, but it seems like I really just kind of wanted to get clarification. It seems like the Greater Winters area, from what I heard earlier in this meeting, does straddle Yolo and Solano County. And so there's a shared interest between people across county lines from each other because they're living in the same, like, you know, fire shed, if you will. So for ensuring that those people who are in close proximity to each other or sort of in a regionally fire prone area get representation on this, they're in the process of forming like a Greater Winters Fire Safe Council that will be able to request resources or work with both the Yolo and the Solano County Fire Safe Councils. Is that correct?
That makes sense.
I just noticed that there are a number of people who are in attendance from Solano County who obviously have an interest in this, and it seems like with that area straddling county lines the way it does, then it seems to be the one place where stopping right at the county border doesn't make sense unless there's a bridge in place between the two counties to really facilitate regional projects that affect that area.
You know, Jesse, I think we could probably, are you talking about it as it relates to the voting rights or something?
Yeah, as it relates to the voting rights and you know, people being the addresses in Yolo County versus Solano County and whatnot.
You know, we probably could put some language in there that just says, you know, that an entity has vested interest in the fire and safety of Yolo County can be considered on a case-by-case basis. And then we can look at each one of those and it just makes sense. We bring it to the committee and discuss it and then add it in, because the intent is not to exclude, but rather to include, but to make sure that it is for, you know, Yolo and those areas that may be immediately adjacent or have a vested interest there on the fire safety of Yolo County. So there's probably some modification of verbiage we could ask Heather to work on.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely circling back to our original idea of like, should it be Yolo Solano Fire Safe Council? And we just started going through that iteration. So we are, I mean, the idea is to be effective and collaborate with all stakeholders that affect, you know, successful outcomes. So we will get something in there. I think that everyone should be supportive of. Or will be supportive. Will-
Anything else on this Article 4, the voting rights?
Chief Ramirez, this is Kate Laddish. I like your idea of having a minimum number of people present, but in order to take a vote and in doing the supermajority from that, rather than requiring a quorum of the full voting membership, because I think there's a chance that you grind to a halt because some people couldn't make it sometime. And so I think that gives some flexibility and ability to keep moving forward.
Thanks, Kate. Anybody else on this voting section before we get to the governance section? All right, let's go.
Okay, governance. Ooh, 5 o'clock. It's 5:01. Do we want to keep going?
Yes, let's please keep going. And apologies for those of you that may have to leave. Please feel free to send in your written comments on what you see.
Okay. Meetings will be coordinated by the Yolo County Resource Conservation District. This is under governance. The council will have a rotating chair and vice chair.
Any discussion on this?
I don't think we have much discussion on this, Heather, because I think this is actually being pushed down from the Board of Supervisors, if I'm not mistaken, right? Through that amendment of the MOU.
And a resolution, which I can share with everyone. Okay. Committees. The council will only form ad hoc committees. For example, committees devoted to studying and advising on a specific issue within defined time frame on an as needed basis, and will have no standing committees. I guess is another kind of trying to build in some simplicity to this group. And just, and if we need to reiterate that that individuals can participate and provide contributions to discussions for any kind of discussion, we can add some more language there too.
Yeah, I would add something about that committees members can include non-voting and other public members or something like that, so you don't limit the volunteer base, because if you identify subject matter experts outside of this group that you want to participate in a committee, you don't want to limit yourself there.
Great point, Tracy. Thank you.
Great. Meetings, regular meetings of the council shall be held monthly at dates and locations agreed upon by council members. The council is not expected to be subject to Ralph M. Brown Act, California's open meeting law. The council will consider appropriate changes to the bylaws if it is later determined that the Brown Act applies. There's 2 things there, monthly meetings, and then a statement about Brown Act, which we have, that was put in by county council. Is monthly meetings okay for now?
Presenting the county right now, Heather, I think our position, especially with not just OES, but as a county, trying to make sure that we meet the deadline of the CWPP, I think it's imperative that we keep the meetings going at fairly regular intervals. So I think monthly would be adequate.
And I'm seeing in the chat some talk about 90 minutes might be more appropriate for now. But we can talk about that at the end of this meeting. Should I keep moving?
Please.
Yep. Article 8, amendments. The bylaws may be amended at any regular or special meeting of the council by 2/3 vote of those present, provided that notice to the amendments has been given either at the previous meeting or sent to each member by email at least 1 week prior to the scheduled meeting.
That's where you may want a quorum. If you're amending your bylaws, that's a little bit bigger than just a regular decision of those present.
Yeah, it makes sense to me too.
Yeah,
Okay, so
that's what I was thinking.
having a minimum number of voting members.
So you just say by 2/3 vote. I think you just take out of those present. Or some 2/3 vote of members.
Of voting members. Cool.
We can see if that works. Okay, we'll work on that. We'll work on two. I think there might be two options there, but we'll work on that. We'll keep, and I'll just make a note to myself and then I'll minimum. Okay. Minimum for vote. Minimum or quorum for vote, basically is what we want to say here. Okay, Article 9, Rules of Order. This is also recommended by County Council. Simple parliamentary procedure prepared by Dave Rosenberg shall be the parliamentary authority for all matters of procedure not specifically covered by these bylaws. That was recommended after I was going for Robert's Rules of Order, which may be hard to make happen. So Dave Rosenberg, and I can put the link to the website in there if that's probably, I think I should probably do that. So we can see exactly what we're talking about. They're more simple. And then the rest of this is going to be, for all the voting members. They, when we get to the point of approving this, then each organization, entity, group can sign off on the bylaws. Thanks for going through that, providing all your input. That was great. So I think what we'll do, Chief Ramirez, is make those amendments, do some tinkering, bring in that feedback, and Tanya's been taking notes as well. And at least a week before the next meeting, we'll be providing an updated draft.
Yeah, so I'd like to send the draft out and people can continue to make comments. We did send it out a couple weeks ago, so and since I'm talking, it sounds like we're going to do, or folks are saying 90-minute meetings might be better for these first formation meetings. We had tried to keep them short and sweet, minimize our Zoom time. So that brings me to my next question, which is 4 p.m. a good time? Yes, no, maybe.
Yeah, more.
Yes.
I'd like to go earlier if you're going to go an hour and a half.
Right, yeah. The purpose of starting at 4 was to try to capture folks who were volunteering and could end their workday early. And
So
then
maybe,
also,
how about if next meeting we put one of those polls that you can do during the meeting?
good idea.
For a 3:30 or a 4 o'clock start time, given a 90-minute time. And then also, if you're unable to be at that meeting, or if you have some thoughts on that, feel free to email those as well.
And should we start the next meeting at 3:30?
Now let's start the next one at 4 o'clock, since that's what the group knows about right now, until we formalize something new.
Great.
Thank you.
A quick question related to meetings going forward, that right now being able to meet on Zoom for this is great. The commute time is fantastic, I have to say. And for me personally, it greatly increases the chance that I'd be able to participate. I think as the governor's emergency order, when that eventually expires related to the pandemic, that bodies governed by the Brown Act or covered by the Brown Act, that there's ongoing discussion about whether or not there'd be the option to continue meeting telephonically. So I don't know if that plays into to the dynamics of meetings going forward and who'd be able to participate.
Thanks, Kate, for that. We'd actually had some discussion about that before the meeting started, and I think we're all very fond of the way this meeting is going and meetings like this in a virtual capacity. And then I think that could morph later on to where we could have something that's a combination approach for those that were able to meet together. more central location and still incorporate the virtual capacity. I think we're all super busy and we're trying to reduce our carbon footprint and a number of things that makes virtual very appealing. It's my
We're
two
not a Brown Act body, so we don't have to worry about that piece.
Not, okay, great. Thanks.
Okay, so you will see a coordinator report coming through for the next meeting, which Tanya, I believe you said is July 28th, 4 p.m. Draft bylaws. And, you know, there'll be more things. I think we'll have to get through the draft bylaws, but there'll be more things to discuss too, in terms of like how we want to be, how you want to be seeing the report and what we want our agendas to look like. And, you know, all the work that we want to do together. So those will be more meeting topics going into the future. Anything else, Tanya, that I missed?
I think that's it. Just we'll also be voting on our chair and vice chair. And hopefully our vice chair and our chair will not be running out on emergencies.
And if anybody else has a burning desire to be either chair or vice chair, please feel free to either nominate somebody by email or during this meeting or send it in for yourself or others.
Yeah, and I will resend the application now the folks are more engaged. So it's half a page, easy to fill out.
Thanks for all your time. Thanks for letting us go over by a few minutes.
And please try to remember also thinking about projects. I think that's one of the main focuses. We really want to be able to be action oriented going forward. And so while we get through this procedural piece, we appreciate all your coordination and collaboration on that, but really the projects is where it's at. So begin to think about those, look at other fire safe councils. There's some great projects that they have done in the state of California. So keep your eye on that. And for those of you that are in the grant world too, continue to keep your eye out on those items for possible funding mechanisms.
And Chief, if you don't mind me doing a shameful plug here.
Yeah.
Any of you that are in our county, adjacent to our county or in Solano County, and you want to find out when there's a need for emergency evacuation, please sign up for Yolo Alert, know your zone, know where you are in that process in case we have to do any sort of outreach to you through our Everbridge system. And just be safe. We have the 4th of July coming up here very soon. And last thing we want is to have any sort of fires breaking loose. And I know I've been texting Chief Lopez. They're working a little bit of a fire over there on the west side of town. So be safe. And that's my shameless plug.
Yes, and Dana put that information in the chat. So thank you.
Thank you for reminding everybody, Kurt. Appreciate it. Super important. Right. If there's
to adjourn.
anything else before we adjourn the meeting? All right, thank you all for your participation and we will see you in about a month. Enjoy
Thank
the-
you, Chief Ramirez. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.
Good job, you guys.